Trackforce Valiant's all-in-one workforce management solution made for security offers guard management essentials, real-time remote monitoring and tour tracking, lone worker protection, incident and activity reporting with evidentiary support, scheduling, dispatching, guard onboarding and training, and more. Following the session, you'll be prompted to join the live Q&A.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the demo of our Trackforce Valiant solution. We wanted to take this time today to give you a quick tour of the solution, focusing in on a few key areas in the system, ranging from planning the week in terms of the scheduling, to viewing a guard's day-to-day, and finally how your supervisors can view and react to incidents all in real time. So we wanted to start with the planning of your week and dive right into our time and labor management module, or TLM as we call it for short. Now, with your security operations, you always want to make sure you have the right people in the right place at the right time, not only to make sure that you're maximizing your profits, but also mitigating any potential risk or compliance issues that may arise around licensing and qualifications. Now, I just wanted to note that our TLM module is actually designed by security officers for security officers and is intuitively designed to ensure you guys always create the best schedule possible. So you can view and create schedules and shifts by customer contract, by location, even down to the individual post level with the individual shifts that you require and have contracts with some of your customers. On the right-hand side, you can go ahead and use these handy filters to really focus in on the areas that you need to focus on, managing by exception. Now, you can see in this particular example, we've got a number of open shifts that we might want to fill. And as I go to fill these, what I actually want to do is make sure that we filtered down to show only the guards that have the right qualifications to work this post, have the right licenses to work this post, but also ensure that we're not going to schedule anyone that's going to go into overtime as well. So we're filtering out those that would go above our maximum weekly hours, which should be 40 hours in this example. Once again, all with the goal of making sure you get the right person in the right place at the right time. So we've now transitioned over to our MPost app, and I'm using my Android device here. And when you think about that bigger picture, we've already gone ahead and planned our week as a supervisor as part of that TLM module. But what does it really look like for the guard when they turn up at a post to work that shift? Well, the MPost app is really designed to be as intuitive as possible for the guard. So I like to think of it as that guide or that GPS for the guard to really kind of show them and guide them through their day. Now, you'll see a couple of examples on the screen here where we've got scheduled events, be it reports or scheduled tours that we're expected to go on. But as I start my shift, as a guard, I may also want to review any of those post orders that you can see that purple option there, or review the logbook, which will give me a quick view as to what's happened on this particular post on the shifts leading up to the one that I've just started. However, one of the common ways that we see guards interacting with the system on a day-to-day basis is through those tours. So if I go ahead and start that tour that I'm actually a little bit late on, you'll see I've actually got 7 different checkpoints that I need to check in at. But at the top, you'll see 0 out of 5. So I only have 5 that I have to hit, even though I do have 7 that are available. Once again, all of that's configurable to however you want to set that up. Now, the checkpoints themselves, you can check in using NFC tags, QR codes. You can also use geofencing if you wanted to, and particularly for any of those locations that might be outside. You can also give the guard a map. So once again, if it's the first time or the 100th time, they know exactly where they need to go for this particular tour. You can also see that as a supervisor. So if you wanted to watch your guards actually going around and hitting those checkpoints live on the screen, you can follow them along on the exact same map through a web browser as well. So we're going to go ahead and check in at the front desk, and you can see we've got a post order attached to this. So post orders don't just have to be for the post in general, they can also be attached to individual checkpoints. And you'll see here, this is a PDF example. You can upload videos, you can upload free text as well. So those post orders can once again be created in a number of different ways to suit your needs. As I return to the tour itself, as I check in at this location, we've also attached a report. So if there's something that you expect your guards to check when they hit a particular part of your campus or building, then you can actually attach that to that checkpoint. We're going to check hand sanitizer here. Obviously pretty topical at the moment. And as I save and submit that report, it confirms my check-in and I can move on to that next point. And if I wanted to, I can set automated notifications around that report as well, so that that automatically gets delivered to a particular member of a team or a group of people once that report's submitted. So I'm going to move to the data storage rooms next, and you'll see I don't have post orders or reports attached to this specific checkpoint, but I can always take a photo, take a video, add additional text as well. I'm going to skip the breakout rooms and go to the bathrooms, and let's just say that as I do that, I notice there's a water leak. Well, I don't actually have a report attached to this checkpoint specifically, but I can, on the fly, simply create that report without having to leave the tour. And you'll see a whole host of options that we've created here, and this is all completely configurable to exactly what you require for your particular contracts that you might have out there. I can select water leak, fill out this very basic information. Once again, we want to make sure that the guard is able to continue their tour. We don't want them getting bogged down with reports. So as simple as possible these reports can be so that we can continue with their tour, the better. Once again, as that report's submitted, I can make sure that's routed to the correct place. Now, finally on this tour, as I step outside, it may well be that I feel at risk as I step outside. We actually have a feature called Lone Worker Protection, and that has kind of 3 different facets to it. First of all, you can use the Lone Worker Protection, and the icon is in the top right-hand corner with the guy falling over on his head, or breakdancing, depending on how optimistic you are. As I select that, it allows me to just note that I'm entering a risk zone. So this is one option. I feel at risk as a guard. I'm stepping outside. It's late at night. I'm entering a risk zone. That time is going to count down to 0. It's going to check in with me. If I'm okay, it's going to reset the timer and keep checking in with me until I exit that risk zone. Alternatively, I can just use that option as a panic button. And as soon as I do that, anyone who you might want to get a notification can get one. It's going to set off an alarm as well. And you will see that on what we call the command center, as I'll show you a little later on as I log in as the supervisor. That is option 2. The third option is to actually use impact detection. So as I hit my device here, you will see that it actually detected that impact. If I slip, trip, fall, or if I'm attacked, it's going to automatically set that off. And if I don't reply, it's going to assume the worst and set off that alarm as well. So we really want to make sure that those guards are always safe as they continue to work, whatever time of day it might be, and particularly if they're left on their own on a particular post. So I'm going to go ahead and round out this particular tour and go ahead and continue my shift. And hopefully you can see in that very quick tour how easy it is for the guard to go about their day and make sure that they're doing all of the things that you expect them to do. And if they don't, you can always get notifications to let you know. So we've now transitioned across to the command center. And when you think about it, your guards are interacting with MPost and completing all of these incident reports and tours throughout the day. What do you and your supervisors and your dispatch team get to see? Well, regardless of whether your operation spans the entirety of the US or just within a particular area, you have real-time visibility into everything that is happening. So as reports are submitted, as panic alarms are set off, you can see those and react to those in real time. They will be available for you immediately with all of the associated data that you would hope for. Additionally, not only can you just visualize and see what's going on with your guards, you can interact with them as well. So as I highlight devices, I can use Pushtotalk, I can use emergency group messaging if I want to be a little bit more discreet as well. So not only is it just visibility, it's the ability to actually interact with those guards in real time as well. All of this really allows you to see what's happening in the moment. But additionally, using dashboards, you can look at trends of data over a period of time as well. So if you wanted to understand which of my contracts, which of my locations are having the most critical reports submitted at, I can absolutely see that. Or alternatively, if I wanted to dig into specific tour statistics, these configurable dashboards allow me to do that, focusing on what kind of reports are being submitted, which officers are submitting them, and when, all with the ultimate goal of helping you create a safe and efficient workforce on a day-to-day basis.
Super. Hello, everyone. I can see we have people flooding through the gates again. Welcome to the Q&A session here. I'm joined by Tim from Trackforce Valiant. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We've got a few minutes to do some Q&A now, and we've got a few people joining in. So just for anyone who maybe joined the video a little bit late, take us a step back. Tell us about what it is you do, what it is you're offering, what it is you're talking about here today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, David. So yeah, hello everybody. So Trackforce Valiant provides a security workforce management solution. And what that entails is a fully comprehensive software application to drive sort of operations, empower both the security officers, but also senior management, and ultimately providing the transparency to the end client. So the focus on our solution is to simplify the process for individuals to be conducting patrols, delivering proof of presence, logging reports, and all of this is driven into a single solution, which also encompasses visitor management, key and asset management, as well as lone worker, and of course everything is GPS tracked. So focusing on very much the security element, whilst obviously, as you've seen in the presentation, time and labour management, scheduling is also an element of our software that will be readily available very soon as well, to sort of simplify again, once again, the operational side of the services provided.
Cool. Thank you very much indeed. So if you do have any questions for Tim on what we've just been watching and what we've just been hearing about, then pop them into the Q&A panel on the screen. I can see some questions are coming in right now. If you don't want to ask a question of your own, or you see a better question than what you were going to ask, then give it a good old thumbs up so that we can prioritize the questions while we have Tim's time. Questions already in there. We've got one here. It's already got a thumbs up. Can clients gain access to the dashboard / reports?
Yes, so yes to both of those questions. So first and foremost, you can provide access to your end clients so they can see exactly what has been happening on their site over a set period of time, depending on the parameters which have been set. That, of course, then develops the trust and then transparency. Whilst any single report or a collective number of reports based on a week, a month, a day, whatever that time frame be, can automatically be sent to the end client as well. And of course, they may want to receive specific types of reports. If they're logged, then they can also be automatically sent via email, also supported by alerts and notifications. So if a client wants to be notified when a particular report or patrol has been conducted, they can receive that alert. So again, it's focusing on the transparency and the access to data and information.
Super duper. In the interest of transparency then, there's another question here that's got a thumbs up as well. What's your business model / price range? Straight in with the money there. Love the questions. So yeah, how does it work on the financial side for this?
Well, you're speaking to the right guy on that. And in short, our modeling is traditionally based on per handset. So let's just say you are providing security for 10 sites. Each site has one handset associated, but you have 3 people working an 8-hour shift across a 24-hour period, just for example. So each of those 3 individuals will need to access that handset. So that one site is one single license. And then if you need 10 sites, all of the same model, effectively you need 10 licenses. Potentially you'll then need a desktop license, which is where your command center can get an understanding and overview of all of the sites by tracking GPS live location. But for end clients, for senior management, those who want to log in and view dashboards and just visualize the sort of the digital logbook and get an understanding of what's happening, there's no paid license there. So there's an unlimited number of licenses which can be provided.
Okay,
Does
good
that
stuff.
answer the question?
Sounded like a good comprehensive answer to me, but yes, if you were the person who asked that question, I can see a name here, but I'm not sure I'm supposed to divulge it. But hopefully that did answer your question. If you have any more questions, let us know. More questions have been coming in though. Can you add alerts into the system to tell employees they need to wear a face mask or covering in certain locations on a premises?
Yes. Yes. So the concept there is we refer to this as post orders or instructions. So if you're working on a certain site, you will then receive a post order or an instruction, either manually or not manually, but automatically sent to you, which you then have to acknowledge, and the system will track who hasn't acknowledged it. Also, if you turn up to a site and tap in using an NFC tag or QR code or even a GPS point, at that particular point, it may pull up an instruction list of what needs to happen on that site. And of course, in that information, that could also sort of, again, determine the need to wear that PPE or face mask or whatever it may be. But going back to the original point I made, the benefit of our tool, or one or two of our main clients, have digitalized in the ability to share communication, toolbox talks, and of course, in the world of COVID, lots of health and safety instructions. By removing the need for paperwork and signatures, it's created both a cost saving, but also a significant time saving, because you've now got a list of everybody who's acknowledged that, and that's on a site-by-site basis, as well as sort of holistic company communications.
Good stuff. Thank you. What happens then if an officer loses connectivity on a patrol?
Yeah, so our system will pull all that data back in. So if you're conducting a patrol, say there's 10 points you need to get to complete the patrol. First couple of points, you have Wi-Fi, you have coverage, and then there's 3 or 4 points during that patrol where you drop. You then, once you come back online, the system will pull in to demonstrate proof of presence that you've been to those points. And what's more, it will also track the GPS as well. So you'll always get a historic view of the GPS location or route that specific individual took, which again, for transparency back to your own client, you have to simply show exactly where your officers have been and where they were at specific points, is incredibly powerful. So yes, our system will pull that data back in.
Super. You mentioned proof of presence there, and there was a question that came in just while you were asking that. How can your application provide proof of presence insights?
Yes, so I mean, there's numerous ways. So our system gives you the option. It's not mandatory, but gives you the option, and it's encouraged to track GPS location. Yep. So therefore, you'll be able to see exactly where anyone was at any particular time whilst they were logged in on the app. And so that's sort of giving you a holistic view. While of course, the ability to use a GPS point, an NFC tag, or a QR code to say you've been to a certain point on a patrol at a certain time. When the patrol report is then accumulated and then produced and ultimately sent to your end client, and of course visualized by yourselves, you'll be able to see who conducted that patrol, what day, obviously where the site was, but also then you'll be able to see their movements around that patrol and where they were at each particular time. They sort of tapped in to say that they've been to that point, maybe taken some photos, taken a video, completed a report as well. So the report will show you exactly where people were at a certain point from a particular patrol point, but you get the complete GPS route with red dots to show you exactly at certain times where someone was.
Breadcrumbs, love it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about devices then, because I've got a couple of questions here. Is there a minimum specification the phone or device must be to use the Trackforce Valiant system? And there was another one here as well. Do many clients replace radios with push-to-talk functionality? So yeah. Two different questions there, but same kit.
Two good questions, two solid questions. So our app is supported by Android and iOS. And of course, both need the NFC functionality if you're going to use NFC tags.
Yeah.
In terms of going into finer details around which versions, I'd need to sort of maybe address that question as a follow-on. I believe it's iOS 7. I just need to double check on that.
That's very old, given that we're on 14 nowadays, and it's only more recent phones as well that would support NFC, I guess, in the Apple ecosystem. Maybe.
Yeah, so I need to double check on that one. And then in terms of the push to talk, so just to summarize, iOS and Android support our app. Then in terms of push to talk, yes, we do see quite a few of our clients utilizing our push to talk as a replacement for radios. Obviously, it creates cost savings. I spoke to a client earlier who currently offices sometimes have 3, even 4 devices on them at any one time. And by utilizing Trackforce, they've envisaged bringing that down to a maximum to more than likely just a single device, therefore decreasing the need for the additional radio. So it is a cost saving. It is something a lot of clients tend to do. Would we say if you've got 1,000 security officers and they're used to a radio, overnight switch to push to talk? It probably wouldn't be the recommended best practice. You would start to filter it in site by site, gain adoption that way. But it absolutely complements, or more, not complements, sorry, can replace the functionality that radio offers. So the answer is yes, we do see clients using push to talk in our app as an alternative to radio.
Good stuff. Thank you. Comprehensive answers. Loads of questions. This is great stuff. Another couple here. Is there a limit to the size of the team you can have on the system, and how easy is it to add people?
The first answer is that there's effectively no limit. It's the number of employees that you have who need to access the system. And in terms of, I would say it takes 15 seconds, 20 seconds to add a user into our system. And then you can quickly deactivate users as well.
Okay. So we're coming towards the end of our time. If you've got any more questions for Tim, then please do pop them into the panel there. We've talked about features, we've talked about benefits, we've talked about pricing, we've talked about technology a bit there as well. Just to kind of round off the bundle here that customers might be expecting. What sort of training do you offer for security and guarding teams and supervisors and so on? How do you round off that bit of the package?
Yeah, so we certainly bring in best practices because we've been in the industry for 20 years and it's a global organization. We've got over 3,000 clients. Some of the world's largest security firms use our software. So our customer success team have worked with a multitude of end clients as well as security organizations. Of course, they've all got different use cases. They all have different levels of training requirements needed. So the customer success team, as part of the onboarding, that's an element of training provided to a couple of administrators to then continue to develop the reports, the patrols, upload the maps, create users, the fundamentals of the system. And then if there's any additional sort of complexities, that's when we'd recommend maybe an on-site session. Obviously at the moment, we can do those remotely. But in general, we tend to go with a train-the-trainer approach. And we would recommend you take a specific owner of this project. We help train them up. And then in turn, that individual will go out and train other, whether it's site managers, regional managers, or however that, so we work with global organizations and they tend to take one spot and then he or she then filters down the necessary training to specific individuals, but you still focus really on 1 or 2 main administrators, and then everybody else tends to be just end users of the system.
Good stuff. I think that's all we've got time for now, Tim. If just to wrap up, where are people best to go next? If they've got any more specific questions about what we've been talking about today, how do they address their queries to the right person?
So first and foremost, I would encourage you to come to myself. I'm only too happy to jump on a call, understand more about your business as you are today, where you want to go to, maybe what your client demands are, maybe some challenges that you may be facing about disparate systems or not being able to prove presence of officers at a certain time, or reporting is sort of manual, paper-based. Whatever those use cases are, I'm sure I've come across them in my time here at Trackforce, and therefore we can then help to understand exactly what you're looking for, and then whether it's then take you and even potentially your end clients through a presentation of software. But the software is only an enabler. Until we've had the chance to fully understand what your business is trying to achieve, it's difficult for us to sort of present our software and the ultimate value. But that's really where we're trying to get to is to demonstrate the value of the software. And therefore, if you have further questions, absolutely come to me. I believe the details will be provided as a follow-on. But also, of course, our website does have significant amount of information available as well. But in the first place, I'd only be too happy and delighted to have that conversation with you.
I've been very happy and delighted to have a conversation with you this afternoon, Tim. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. For those of you watching, thank you so much for joining us all day here on our Tech Talks. The plan is that we'll be continuing again in 5 minutes' time when Morse Watchmans will be here with us. But for now, Tim from Trackforce, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Thanks, David. Thank you, everybody.